Hey everybody, good morning. This is Tara Lynn. I'm with the Painted Cicada, and I've got a super fun Halloween acrylic painting lesson to do with you today. So I'm so excited that you are here with me. Tracers, color list, all in guide 30. Although this one is super simple, you can change up the colors. And I'm actually going to draw it. I'll show you how to draw it if you're comfortable drawing. So a little bit about me. My name is Tara Lynn. Again, I'm the owner of the Painted Cicada. I'm a mixed media artist and art journaler, and I absolutely love doing acrylic painting. So I will be with you this month to do two of the things that I love, acrylic painting today, and then later this month, on October 20th, I've got this super fun mixed media heart lesson. But I'm really excited about this month because I love using neon colors. So that's what we're going to do. Let me add in my desk here. I am going live with StreamYard. So if you are with me today, if you just give StreamYard permission by following that link there, it should also be in the video title. As well. I'm going to turn this off. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? Oh, I love seeing people hop on. If you do not give StreamYard permission, I won't be able to see what you're saying. But hello there in South Carolina. Glad you could join us. Just going to get my tech figured out a little bit here. Right. So, Stephanie, yeah, I'm excited. I love neons. I actually went to the store and I got a few different new neons. So I had a bunch of these Americana neons. And then this week I went to the store and I got these Deco Art Blacklight neon. And then I got the neon lights, which are like a pastel neon. So that's kind of fun. Hey, Dawn, how are you? All right. So anyway, I do have a tracer, and I think the easiest way, if you would like to transfer using a tracer, is to print that out, and then you can kind of scribble on the back with a pencil, and then flip it over and trace your design, and that will transfer the pencil marks over. If you want to draw along with me, this one is pretty simple. Let me grab a Sharpie here. I am going to draw this in Sharpie so that you can see it on camera, but you do not have to use a Sharpie to draw on your page if you don't want to. So we are making a cloche, which is a closed terrarium kind of thing. So we're going to start with the ball on the top, and that's kind of what you use to open it. You see here. So just, if you're going to draw along with me, go ahead and draw a ball right on top there. Hey, Tammy, how are you? It's good to see everybody this week. I've had a really slow week. This is really my first opportunity to make some art, so I'm super happy to be with you guys. All right, so now we're going to make the glass terrarium top. So we just kind of make this U shape. And if your shape isn't perfect, don't worry, we can always fix it when we do our background. When we do our paint, it'll cover our tracing lines right up. And then I'm just going to add a long rectangle here at the bottom. That's the top of the base, and then 2 lines inward. That'll be the bottom of the base there. And of course, I want a background line here. This is going to be where my table ends. Right, so now we're going to move in to draw some cactuses. And these are pretty easy to draw because there's so many different kinds. It's hard to mess up. So this little bottom one here, I'm just going to kind of make a goofy, like uneven, rectangular shape there. And he's going to end up being my skull. And if skulls aren't your thing, you can draw ghosts. It doesn't have to be a skull at all. Really, you can turn it into anything. I mean, you could even make him a little Frankenstein if you want, or Frankenstein's monster. And then I'm just going to add a couple more of these off the side. That is my cactus. And on top of my cactus, I want to add some flowers. So maybe right here in the middle. And I'm just doing loopy flowers. Like, they don't have to be difficult, y'all. This is just a fun painting. Oh, a kitty face would be so cute, Melanie. Yeah, you could turn this into anything. And then over here, I am going to draw my pumpkins. Again, draw your pumpkins however you like. I like mine kind of chubby and fat. And I'm going to put a flower right here. And I'm just making a loopy flower. These cactus succulent flowers are kind of big and fat and loopy, so. Yeah, so this is super simple to draw. And if your flowers and your cactuses look different, that's awesome. I want them to look different. I want them to be unique to you. And so I'm just going to draw a little bat here. In the center, I just make his little ears. And then I draw a diamond shape kind of at the bottom. I mean, this guy is literally like what you would draw in 3rd grade, you know? He's just for fun. So he's not a high-tech, realistic bat. So that's it. It's super easy to draw. Yeah, you could put the Hocus Pocus ladies in there. Y'all, you can do anything with this. You could even, if you were doing this in the springtime, like you could use spring colors. You could make this an Easter bunny with like, you know, 2 succulent ears off the top. And this one is really easy to change up according to the season. So don't be afraid to make it your own. So yeah, I had a color list. It doesn't matter what color you use. This turns out really cute no matter what colors. But I'm going Halloween today. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to get some black, put it on my palette here, and I'm going to get some white. Dog hair on my paint palette. Story of my life, y'all. My dogs, ugh. I vacuum all day long and I still have hair everywhere. Okay. I'm going to get some black and white on here. Now the background on the inside is going to be light, so I am not going to paint that today. When we start, I'm going to paint around it, but I'm going to move quickly, and I'm going to do some blending. So I am going to do a layer of black here on the background. Of course, you don't have to use black, but I'm going black because it's Halloween-y. And then while my black is still wet here, I'm just going to dab in some white, put some white marks in, and just kind of blend that out. I don't need it to be super smooth, but that just lightens up that color a little bit so that it's not just plain boring black. So I work a little bit, and then I'm going to throw some black in there. So if you were with me today, tell me what kind of Halloween you like. Are you like a cute Halloween? Do you like monsters? Do you like scary Halloween? Kind of like a little bit of everything when it comes to Halloween, I'll be honest. Pet Hair Palace. Yes, y'all. I bought one of those. Like I don't have one of those really nice $500 vacuums or anything, but I bought one of the pet hair ones. We vacuum every day, and every day it's full. It's disgusting. But I love my babies, so we put up with it for them. Now, my Halloween decorations in my house are almost all like orange and black. Orange and black Halloween, and it's a lot of vintagey stuff. But I like everything. I really like, there's been kind of a trend recently with like pink and white Halloween, like skulls and weddings and like roses and stuff. And I kind of like it, but it just doesn't go with any of the stuff I have. So in the store it stays. Oh, you're not into Halloween anymore? I think it's because I've got kids at home. They're teenagers, but they still like to like go to haunted houses and stuff. And October is my month, guys. I love fall. Autumn is my favorite. And so I get excited when it's autumn, and it's my birthday month, so like I spoil myself. I used to love scary movies too, and I'm not crazy about them anymore. I'll watch them with my kids, but I think they're just silly. They've been trying to get me to watch Squid Games. I have no idea what it is, but they keep telling me it's so good, but I have not seen it. All right, so it's hard to see a little bit because of the glare while the paint is wet, but it's really just kind of a black gray mixture for the background. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I just kind of smudged that white in there just to give it a little something, something. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create like a table down here. So I want some brown. And I am going to also use brown when I do the base down here with my rocks. It doesn't matter what kind of brown you have. This one is called espresso. Burnt umber is also a good one. But brown comes in all tints. Reddish brown and light brown, dark brown, it doesn't matter. Because wood comes in all colors and finishes. So I'm just going to put some down here. And with this, I kind of like to go in straight lines just because, you know, tables are usually made with planks and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to add some brown down here. And then similar to what I did at the top, I'm going to mix in a little black and a little white. So I get a nice thick layer down here of my table. I'm moving left to right because that's how the planks would go. So when I've got some nice wet paint, then I can start just smudging in colors. And I just am going to move left to right. So maybe I'll add in more brown. Maybe I'll zhuzh in a little black. And then I just use this flat brush to create lines. And if it gets too black, I'll just add more brown. If it gets too light, I can add more black or add more brown. But it's that sweeping left to right motion that gives those nice, clean, woody looking lines. Oh, Dawn said happy birthday month. Thank you. My husband makes fun of me. He calls it the anti-birthday month because he says I'm spoiled. I don't need a whole month. He's not wrong, but it's his job to spoil me, right? That's what we do. We spoil each other. I spoil him all year. I figure that earns me a month, right? All right, so when we're doing acrylic paint, typically, because it's opaque, we work background and then we add layers till we get to the top. So I'm going to take a break from the black and the brown for a little bit, and I'm going to add some white in my cloche here. And I want it to be just slightly off-white. And so put some white over here and just a dab of brown, like very little. And when you mix it in with that white, it's just going to create a nice, you can barely see it, it creates a nice creamy color. I could also add a little gray if I didn't want it to have a brown tint. Either way is fine. I just don't want it to be totally white. And so I've got this nice creamy color. My fingers way too much paint. Okay. And so I'm just going to add this color all the way around. And this one is kind of like it ended up a little buttermilk. It could be light gray, it could be a buttermilk. It really doesn't matter. I just don't want it to be pure white because I'm going to add some pure white streaks in later, and that's going to be what gives it a glassy look. And I can go right, because these lines are dark, I can go right over them. And if I pick up any of the black from the edge, if it's still wet, most of mine is dry, I'll just mix it in. It's not going to be a lot. And same thing up here. I've got some black around the edges that's mixing in. I'm just moving my brush in a circle, and that's okay because these glass pieces pick up a lot of the background color and light anyway. So I just go with it. No stress painting, that's what I'm all about. So I just want to make sure all my bits of the glass are painted in this buttermilky color. Oops. I hate it when I fudge up my edges. I'm not a very realistic painter, but it drives me cuckoo if I don't have a nice clean edge. We all have those weird little preferences, don't we? All right. All right, so now I've got my buttermilk on there. I used a medium-sized brush for most of this work. I'm going to get a little bit smaller. This is kind of a schmedium. It's not tiny, but it's not, I don't know, I call it a schmedium. It's my schmedium. So my cactus I made mine white. You could totally make yours green, especially if you're doing neon. If you want more neon, you could totally make it green. I'm going to do mine white because I'm making mine into a skeleton. So what I'm going to do is get some pure white on there. And I'm going to fill in this whole shape and all these sections in pure white. I'm going to make sure I cover up my tracer lines or my drawing lines. All right, so I've got lots of white on there. I want to make sure it's nice and thick, a nice thick coat of white, because I'm going to come back and add some black around my edges and blend it in. That's going to give it kind of that shadowy skeleton look. And using this white and black technique is good if you're doing a ghost. If you're doing a cat, if you've got a white cat, you can do that. But really, whatever color you put on the inside. So if you're using green, you can still do the black edges and blend them in. So I'm just going to get a small brush, my baby brush here, and I'm going to add some black around the edge. And I don't mind if it picks up the white, right? Because I just said we're blending it in. So I'm going to start outlining these parts with black. That was pure black. And then I'm just going to grab some white, tiny bit, and I'm just going to kind of blend it in so it's not a shocking line right here. That just gives it kind of a shadowy gray effect. Okay, Dawn, take your time. I'll go slow so you don't miss too much. Hi, Lori. How are you today? I'm so glad you could hop on with me. So on this little guy on the side here, I know I'm going to have a flower on top, so I just need to kind of blend in some gray on the sides here. I'm just all the way around all the pieces of my cactus. I'm just tapping some black. Then I'm going to grab some white and just kind of blend that into a gray. It just gives it a little bit of shadowing. The downside to doing a neon painting during the day is it's going to be difficult to show you all what it looks like with the black light, but I'm going to try to do it when we're done. See if it pops. right, so now I've kind of got this. Yeah, it would be hard to paint in the dark. Although, I don't know, last night the presentation was in the dark with blacklight and it was kind of cool. I don't know if I'm that talented yet. All right, so my next closest to the background layer is my pumpkin here. And I'm going to put down a layer of regular orange before I come in with my neon orange, just to cover up some of this white in the background. So I'm just going to put a base layer over all my pumpkin parts. It's traditional orange. And this color is not blacklight reactive, so I'm definitely going to come back with the blacklight paint or neon paint. Doing this in layers is also going to help me add some shadow and cover up this Sharpie I used for my background lines. All right, so we've got our orange pumpkin. I'm going to tap a little bit into my brown, and just add some shadow in there. Right on my tracer lines. That's just going to, when I add my neon on top, it'll show through a little bit. And I just blend it in, kind of like I did with the white and the black over here. Do it while it's still wet. It's kind of an optional step, but I like to add in some shadows. You could even at this point, you could put some white in there. There might be some light. I don't know how much that'll show through, but you would be surprised how much your eye picks up. All right, so I'm going to let that pumpkin dry, and then I'm going to go in now and do my rocky bottom here. So I'm going to mix up some brown into some white, and I'm going to create a lighter version of this brown, but I don't want it to be cream colored. I definitely want it to look brown, like dirt, like sand. So just mix a color of brown that you like. Put that layer in here. I make it kind of wavy. You can make it straight if that's your preference. I like to get all these dark colors kind of out of the way before I get all into the neons. Right. So I want to add some rocks in there. And what I'm going to do, I still have got my tiny brush here. I am just going to make some irregular shapes. And if the brown in the background is wet, that's okay. I'm going to fill in quite a few. I want there to be a lot of rocks down here. So I've got this white, it's picking up some brown. Got some bigger ones, some smaller ones. Right, so I just put it on there and you can see some of that brown is mixing in. Now I'm going to go back, I'm going to grab a little bit of black and maybe I'll smudge some black in some of them. Not all of them. I just want the rocks to have different colors and shadows and shapes. So some will have black, some will be more brown. I could even mix up a little bit of gray. I'll tap some gray in some of these rocks. They're all different. That's what we're going for. Don't overthink the rocks. So you can see what I'm talking about. So my rocks are just kind of lots of little white smudges, and then I tapped in some color. So I tapped in brown, I tapped in white, tapped in gray and black. All right, so I know here on my base, that's black, so I still have my black out. So I'm actually gonna get my medium-sized brush again. Yes, I'm going to have to try painting actually with the black light, but I knew with an early time today it wouldn't work out real well. So I'm going to see if I can dim the lights a little and see what happens when I turn my black light on, because I do have a black light in here. All right, so I'm going to use pure black for the base down here, the bottom part of the base. And I'm going to mix just a lighter shade of black, almost a gray black. I don't want it to be light, but I want it to be lighter. And I'm going to put that color here. It's just a subtle difference. It's not a huge difference, but enough that you can see there's a difference between the top of the base and the bottom of the base. I like to use these flat brushes for this part because it just makes those edges a lot easier to do. So it's subtle, but there's just a slight variation in that color. All right, we've got lots of black parts. So the next thing I'm going to do is get a nice tiny round brush, and I'm going to keep working with my black, and I'm going to add in some vines with my black. So I've got a really thin round brush. Again, you can do this in any color. So if you're feeling your green or your black light green, definitely do that. This is cute no matter how you do it. All right, so then I'm just going to add in my vines. And I want this big long one to curl around. So I kind of sketch in my vine line. And then you just come back in and put some petals on your vine. I want this to be in the background, so I'm going behind my pumpkin there. If you're having trouble with your black paint and nice smooth lines, it's okay to just add in a smidge of water. You don't want it to be too watery, but the consistency of melted ice cream is perfect for writing and vines and things like that. And depending on how much space you have, you can add in as many or as few vines as you want. I always recommend doing things in odd numbers. In art, it's called the rule of odds. Things often look better in sets of odd numbers. You can add as many or as few as you want, depending on your background here. So I might add one on this side. Also, it's going to depend, on where your cactus is, where you placed your stuff. Thank you, Stephanie. This one is really easy, but I think it's really cute. I do have my cactus flowers here. For now, I'm going to go right around it because I can just paint over it. I think I'll do 3. I'll do one more maybe coming out behind here. Yes, Tammy, no stress art. Art should not be stressful because it is not a competition. I think art is all about having fun. It's about relaxing, it's about enjoying the process. I have nobody I need to impress. I'm just here to have a good time. When I do classes in person, I always tell people there's no rules. You do what you want. This is supposed to be fun. All right, while I've got my black out, I can fill in my little bat here. So again, if you're drawing them in, I make the ears, and I just kind of come down into a little triangle body. Nothing too complicated. And give them some wings. And if you want him to stand out just a smidge from your vines, just tap it in the white and just smudge a little white in there. But you can do your bat a few different ways. It would even be cute if you had like an upside down bat hanging from the top. I mean, don't be afraid to change the design. This design is just for fun. If you're not into spats. If you're not into spats, you could do like a spider. I mean, there's so many ways you can make this cute. Thing I'm going to do with this black here is get some of this skull face, skeleton face on my design, on my cactus. So the way I make a skeleton, I just go for cute. So he just needs some eyes. And then the nose is kind of an upside down heart. So I just make 2 lines there and I'll turn it into a heart shape. Oh, watercolor. I can't wait to see how that turns out. These little cheese down here are just little lines. So easy peasy. This guy's easy to make. Again, he could be a ghost, he could be a cat, he could be, I mean, really, you could have done this whole thing like pumpkins. Million things. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. All right, that's most of what we're doing with the black. So I'm going to move on to a different color. I already put down the orange for my pumpkin. I'm going to fill in the colors of my flowers with neons now as well. Or not neons, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do the neon yet. I'm going to do the base coat. So I'm going to use pink, I think, for the flowers on my cactus, and I'm going to use green for this one. And so these are just regular paint. It's not neon. I'm just going to come through with a small brush and put my first layer down. So this just kind of blocks out the flower for me. I'm just doing real simple petals, just making sure I'm covering up any outline that I can see through the black, through the back if I can. Neons are naturally transparent pigments. So in order to have that really fun UV reaction, they tend to end up really transparent. So that's why I do this base coat. These are just real simple petals. I'm not thinking too much about them. I'm just using simple lines, just smudging some petals in there. And I'm not, like, my colors don't match up. So this pink is very different from my black light pink, but it just adds a base color. So I'm not worried about it. As long as it's the same color family, I'm good. So here's my non-neon green. I'm just coming in for that base layer. And I know I'm kind of bouncing around a lot here, doing this part, that part, but it's just so that some of these things can dry before we move on. Ooh, highlight markers. That's a great idea for the neons. I didn't even think of that. All right, so while my two sets of flowers are drying, I know that my pumpkin here is dry, my base layer, so I'm gonna throw in a stump with my brown real quick because I didn't do that earlier. And I'm gonna put my black light neon on my pumpkin. And because it's got this transparency to it, I can see those shadows from that first layer right through it, and that's what I was going for. I want to add this nice coat of neon on top, but now I don't have to mix anything in to be dark for the shadows. I'm putting it just right over the top. And it's hard to see on camera without a black light, so I will definitely turn on my black light before we're finished, before I end the video. See if I can't get it to glow a little bit for you. Here in person, the difference between the two oranges is so different. But alas, on my internet camera, not so much. Oh, I don't know. Here in person, this guy is like really glowing, but I can see on the video camera it's little duller. You can see it better on this, on the plate, the two oranges. Well, not really. I don't know. Internet cameras are dumb. All right. I'm going to move on to the flowers. These are a little wet still, so I'm going to zap them just quickly. I don't know that was totally necessary, but better to make sure I don't goof up while I'm teaching, right? And I'm just going to put my neon colors right over the top. I'm just making sure that my layer of these neons is nice and thick. Grab my neon green. Sorry guys if I miss your comments. Sometimes I just get wrapped up in painting. Thank you, Melanie. I don't ever mean to miss comments, but I'm super bad about it. Like I said, when I started, like painting is my relaxation, and so I get into the zone sometimes and forget to look up. I add just a little more neon orange on this pumpkin, just because I really want it to pop. For whatever reason, my orange just seems a little more transparent than the other colors. All right. I think that's nice and bright. All right, well, these colors dry because I do have one more step to make this look a little bit more like glass. I am going to add some spiderweb fun on here. So really you can put your spiderweb anywhere you want, but what I'm going to do is just thin down a little bit of this white, get a nice thin round brush. Like my white's kind of dirty, I don't care. There's no rules here. If it's a little gray, I'm good with that. So on my sample, I think I put my spider web down here. Today I'm going to go up top. I'm feeling it up here. I just got 3. Maybe I'll do 4 lines. I'll connect the ends. And I just go real loosey-goosey. If my paintbrush cuts out a little bit, I'm not worried about it. I'm going to mix a little bit of black in there. Create a gray. I'm just going to touch some of these lines with the gray. Just dull them down a little bit. The spider web would be fun to do. I've got this glow-in-the-dark paint. I didn't think to do it like this, but if I just did the spider web in the glow-in-the-dark paint, that would have been kind of cool. Then it would just show up with the black light instead of being able to see it in person. I'm going to make a spider. You can have your spider hanging down wherever you want. I think I'm going to have my little guy over here. I just used the same brush and the same gray as I used in the spider web. Spiders are super easy, so I'm going to do mine in gray so you can see them. I just draw a little abdomen and then a little head in the front. And then of course, needs 8 legs, but I also like to add like little fangs up front, make them a little scarier. And I'll do 2 legs in the front coming out from the top, and then 2 legs in the back. So I did him in gray so y'all could see, but I am going to mix in a little black there. I want him darker. I almost want him like noticeable, but just barely. And this is the point where you can add any little fun details you want. So I'm pretty happy with my painting as is. But sometimes I like to just get out my liner brush or really thin round and I might dip in white and add some lines here on my pumpkin. A little squiggle here and there, like with black, maybe touches of black lines. I think adding these little lines here and there is helpful. Especially here in the flower, you might want to add some lines to define the petals. And I don't do all of them. I just add a few here and there. Like you can draw some small petals on the inside of your flowers. This is also okay to do when everything is dry. You can add lines with a Sharpie or a gel pen as well, if you're not as confident in line work with your paintbrush. That's totally up to you. And I bounce back and forth between white and black for my lines. Like I said, there's no rules here. We do what we want. So however you want to define your flowers. And then the absolute final step here is we're just going to add some lines with white and black. And I'm going to follow the lines of my circle here because I want to make it look like there's some reflection. So I'm going to add some white. I'm going to add some black in the ball. And then when it comes to the cloche here, I'm just going to get some nice thin white lines and follow the shape. And I'm going to go right over my painting because this would be like the reflection on the glass. So just add in a few of those, and that makes it look a little more glass-like. Hi, Pam. Thanks for hopping on. So that's hard to see, and they're real subtle, but they're just some thin white streaks on there, and that'll just make it look a little more like glass. So I've got some on each side. You can put some on the top. That is something, like I said, you can also do like with a gel pen after it's dry as well. You can just, add in, well, mine's not dry, so it didn't work so well, but you can just add in streaks that way. Wow. All right, y'all. Now I'm going to see if I can darken the room up a little bit. Got my black light on. I don't know how well that's going to show because it's light in my room, but it really does pop. Like in person, it's so different than on the camera. So I will have to post a picture maybe this evening when it's nice and dark in here. Unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, there's lots of beautiful natural light in my art space. But unfortunately for my black light, during the day, it doesn't pop quite as much. But that's it. That is my fun little Halloween cloche. And I'm so excited that you guys joined me today. I really love just creating with acrylic paint, just fun art, just art that I don't have to worry about. Am I doing this right? Am I impressing anybody? Like, that's kind of my thing. I just really enjoy it. So let me take that down. So thank you so much again for painting with me today. I would love to see what you guys make. Make sure you share with us in the group. That's the best part of being in a group, is seeing what everybody creates. And then knocking stuff over. Come back and join me again on October 20th. October 20th? October 20th. I had to double check there. And we're going to make this fun art painting here, which again is blacklight reactive. It's hard to see on camera, but it looks super cool on a black light. So thanks, y'all. I hope you have a great day, and I can't wait to see what you make.